All right, so picture this, a political thriller where a single vote could determine the future of a presidency.
Sounds intense.
Well, that's exactly what's happening right now in the House of Representatives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're kicking off the race for Speaker, and we're diving deep into this battle today.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, using some live updates and articles that we got from Fox News Digital, all published earlier today.
Oh, wow. So this is breaking news.
It is January 3rd, 2025. So very, very fresh.
All right, buckle up.
Yeah, you got it. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We want to understand what makes this Speaker election so different.
Okay.
Why is it such a big deal?
Yeah.
Who are the big players?
Right.
And what are the stakes for the new Trump administration?
All good questions. It promises to be a wild ride.
I bet it will. Lots of political maneuvering, probably a few surprises along the way.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
All right.
It's the opening day of the 119th Congress.
Huge day.
It is, and everyone's gathered to elect the House Speaker. And even though we have a Republican majority, this is not a sure thing.
Oh, absolutely not. The incumbent, Mike Johnson, is fighting to keep his position.
Yeah.
But he's facing opposition from within his own party.
Wow. So Republicans against Republicans?
Exactly. And the majority is razor thin, 219 to 215.
Oh, wow.
So Johnson can only afford to lose one Republican vote.
Talk about pressure.
No kidding.
Is this common to have this kind of like nail-biter speaker battle?
It's not unprecedented.
Okay.
You know, back in 2023, remember it took 15 votes over 5 days to elect Kevin McCarthy?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This time around, it could be even more intense.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, let's talk about the elephant, or should I say the Trump in the room.
Right.
President-elect Trump has given Johnson his full support, calling it a complete and total endorsement. So how much weight does that hold?
Well, Trump's endorsement definitely carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Especially with his base. But here's the interesting thing. Even with Trump's backing, several Republicans are hesitant to support Johnson.
Are they looking for something specific, or what's going on?
It's a few things.
Okay.
Some Republicans are still angry about how Johnson handled that recent government spending bill.
Oh, right.
They thought he was too willing to compromise, almost like he was caving to the Democrats.
So they don't trust him.
They're worried he'll sell them out to the swamp, as they say.
That's pretty strong language.
It is. It shows how deep the mistrust runs.
Yeah. Wow. So who are the main players in this rebellion? Any names we should be watching?
Absolutely. Representatives Thomas Massie, Ralph Norman, Tim Burchett, and Andy Biggs are all vocal critics of Johnson.
So they haven't committed their votes?
Nope. They're the ones to watch. Their votes could make or break Johnson's chances.
It sounds like Johnson is walking a tightrope here.
He is. It's a delicate balancing act.
Yeah.
He needs to keep the hardliners happy without alienating the moderates.
Right. And all while managing expectations from President-elect Trump, who's known for demanding loyalty.
Exactly. It's a tough spot to be in.
Now, one of the names you mentioned earlier, Representative Victoria Spartz, caught my eye because while she acknowledges Trump's endorsement, she's demanding assurances from Johnson.
Oh, right.
That he won't sell us out to the swamp.
Right.
Like, that's a pretty powerful phrase, what's going on there.
I think that phrase goes beyond policy disagreements. You know, it speaks to a deeper feeling among some Republicans that their leaders are too willing to compromise with the Democrats.
Oh, so they're abandoning their core principles?
That's how they see it.
So this speaker election is about more than just procedure, then.
Oh, for sure.
It's about ideology, trust, power dynamics.
It's about the soul of the Republican Party.
Wow. Okay, so we've got these individual Republicans who are on the fence, but what about bigger groups within the party?
Right.
Is anyone else trying to influence this fight?
Absolutely. We can't forget about the House Freedom Caucus.
Oh, right. The hardliners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A group of hardline conservatives known for their uncompromising positions. They're a major force in this power struggle, and they're using their leverage to get some serious concessions from Johnson.
What kind of concessions are we talking about? What do they want?
Well, one of their top demands is control of the House Rules Committee.
Okay, and why is that so important?
This committee basically decides which bills make it to the floor for a vote.
Oh, wow.
So you can see why it's a powerful position.
Yeah, huge.
And the Freedom Caucus wants one of their own to be the chair.
Okay.
Representative Chip Roy.
So they're saying they'll only support Johnson if he gets that gavel.
That's the deal.
Wow. So Johnson is stuck between a rock and a hard place.
You could say that.
Yeah, trying to keep the Freedom Caucus happy without losing the moderates.
A tough balancing act.
It is, yeah. It sounds like a high-stakes game of political chess here.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got to make the right moves to secure the speakership, but each move could alienate a different part of the party.
Every decision has consequences.
It does, and if we think back to the 2023 speaker battle, government spending was a big sticking point for Kevin McCarthy.
Right.
And now it seems like that same issue is back to haunt Mike Johnson.
Like a political ghost from the past?
It is, but what's so interesting is how the Freedom Caucus is using it.
Yeah.
It seems very strategic.
It is. They're not just complaining about spending.
Right.
They're using it as leverage to gain influence.
So they want to be seen as the champions of fiscal responsibility.
Exactly, and they want concrete action.
Okay, so control of the Rules Committee with Chip Roy as chair seems to be their key to making that happen. But why is that committee so important to their agenda?
Well, think of it this way. The Rules Committee sets the agenda for the entire House.
Okay.
They decide which bills get debated, how long the debate lasts, what amendments can be proposed.
So they really have the power to shape the entire legislative landscape.
Exactly.
So if the Freedom Caucus gets Roy in as chair, they'll have huge influence over what gets prioritized.
Oh, yeah.
Which could be a big win for them and a big headache for Johnson.
It could definitely create some tension.
Yeah, it sets up a potential power struggle within the Republican Party.
Right.
If Johnson gives in to the Freedom Caucus, he risks alienating moderate Republicans.
Who are already wary of their influence.
Yeah, so he's got to walk a fine line.
He does. And on top of all that, there's a ticking clock.
Oh, right.
Remember, until they choose a speaker, the House can't function.
Right.
They can't swear in new members. They can't certify Trump's election victory.
So this is bigger than just the House. It could affect Trump's entire second term.
Absolutely. Every day that the House is in limbo is another day that Trump can't get things done.
He can't implement his agenda, can't make appointments.
Nope. It creates this image of dysfunction and disunity, which could weaken his position both domestically and internationally.
Yeah, it makes him look bad. Now, one thing I found interesting in the sources was that C-SPAN has been given permission to film the speaker vote.
That's unusual.
It is, right? They don't normally allow that. Why are they doing it now?
Well, I think they're trying to be more transparent.
Okay.
Giving the public a front row seat to this historic event.
So we'll get to see all the behind-the-scenes drama unfold in real time.
All the negotiations, the arguments, the deals.
It'll be like watching a political thriller.
Exactly.
It reminds us that politics is really about people.
At the end of the day, it is.
Their ambitions, their relationships, their ability to persuade and compromise.
It's the human element that makes it so unpredictable.
Okay, so we've talked about the key players, the pressure on Johnson, and the potential for a long fight.
Yeah.
But before we get back to those live updates, I want to talk about the historical context.
Sure.
This isn't the first time a speaker election has been this contentious, right?
Absolutely not. Throughout American history, there have been plenty of speaker elections that turned into political brawls.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Even the very first speaker election back in 1789 was a nail-biter.
No way.
Multiple rounds of voting, backroom deals, you name it.
Yeah. Wow, so this kind of political wrangling is baked into the system.
It's part of our DNA.
That's amazing. It's like those historical battles are mirroring what we're seeing today.
Right, even though the issues and the players have changed.
The basic dynamics of power, ambition, and compromise are still the same.
It's human nature.
It is, and it helps us understand this current battle in a new light.
Right.
It's not just about Mike Johnson or the Freedom Caucus.
And about these enduring tensions and power struggles
that have always been part of our political system.
Exactly. It's a story that's been playing out for centuries.
And understanding that context helps us make sense of what's happening right now.
It gives us a broader perspective.
It does. All right, let's get back to those live updates from Fox News Digital and see what's happening on the House floor.
Okay.
It sounds like the first round of voting just wrapped up, and we already have some drama.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems Mike Johnson didn't get enough votes to be speaker.
Oh, wow. He fell short on the first ballot.
He did. I'm kind of surprised. I thought he had it in the bag.
Well, it's a significant development, but not totally unexpected.
Yeah, with all the rumblings we've been talking about.
Exactly. Remember, he could only afford to lose one Republican vote.
Right.
And it looks like several Republicans either voted against him or voted present.
Which means he didn't get the majority.
That's right.
So what happens now? Is it game over for Johnson?
Not necessarily. Fox News Digital is saying that they've called lawmakers back to the chamber for a second vote.
So round two.
This is where things get really interesting.
I can imagine the House floor is buzzing with activity right now.
Oh, yeah. Phones are ringing. Deals are being made.
What must be going through Johnson's mind?
He's got to be feeling the pressure.
Big time.
He and his allies are probably scrambling to shore up support.
Calling favors, making promises.
Maybe even offering concessions to those who voted against him.
Oh, there's an update. Fox News is reporting that 3 Republicans voted for someone other than Johnson.
Okay, who are they?
Thomas Massie, Ralph Norman, and Keith Self.
Interesting choices.
And get this, the first round of voting is technically still open.
So they're keeping it open to give Johnson's team more time to negotiate.
Exactly. It's a classic power play.
Increase the pressure, buy some time.
It sounds like Johnson's in a tough spot.
He is.
The updates say he's already met with 2 of the Republicans who voted against him.
Trying to win them back.
Yeah. Those face-to-face meetings are crucial.
Absolutely. It's his chance to hear their concern.
Or address their grievances.
And convince them that he can be the leader they need.
I wonder what President-elect Trump is thinking watching all this.
I'm sure he's paying close attention.
He put his reputation on the line endorsing Johnson.
He did.
And now his pick is facing this public rebellion.
It's a test of his influence.
It is. If this drags on, it could make him look weak.
And embolden his opponents.
Yeah, making it harder for him to get things done in Congress.
Definitely.
So as we head into the second round of voting, what's the most likely scenario?
It's hard to say.
Can Johnson pull this off, or are we headed for a political crisis?
Well, if he can get those missing votes and win the speakership, he might be able to smooth things over and get the House back on track.
But if he can't,
then we could be in for a long and chaotic fight.
Multiple rounds of voting shifting alliances.
Maybe even a new candidate emerging from the fray.
It would be a huge blow to Trump.
And could potentially cripple his presidency.
This whole situation really shows how unpredictable politics can be.
It does.
You've got these rules and traditions, but in the end,
it all comes down to people.
Their decisions, their ambitions, their grudges.
Their willingness to compromise.
It's a reminder that the future of our democracy is constantly being shaped.
Yeah.
Not just by big speeches or laws.
But by these messy behind-the-scenes power struggles.
Exactly. This whole thing really highlights how personal and unpredictable politics can be.
Oh, it definitely does.
You've got these established procedures, traditions, but ultimately
it comes down to people.
It does their ambitions, their grudges, their willingness to compromise or not.
Right. And how all those individual choices interact with the system.
Yeah, exactly. And before we wrap things up, there's one more thing I wanted to mention.
Okay.
It's from our Fox News digital sources. They mentioned that former Representative Matt Gaetz won't be returning to his seat.
Oh, that's right.
Now, he was a big Trump supporter, very vocal.
He was.
And I'm curious, how do you think his absence might impact not just the speaker race, but the Republican Party as a whole?
Well, that's a great question. You know, Gaetz was a controversial figure.
Yeah.
But he also had a lot of influence.
Yeah.
Especially among the pro-Trump wing of the party. So his absence creates this kind of vacuum.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see who steps in to fill that void.
Yeah. Will it be someone who follows his lead with that hardline confrontational style? Or will we see a shift towards something different, a more pragmatic approach maybe?
It's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely something to watch.
It is, as we try to figure out where the Republican Party is headed.
Right, and what it means for the future of the Trump movement.
Exactly. Well, this deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has.
We've seen how personal ambitions and these long-standing traditions can clash.
Yeah.
And lead to some very unpredictable outcomes.
Politics is never boring.
It's not. And remember, these Fox News digital updates are just one perspective on this story.
Right.
It's important to stay informed, consider different viewpoints, and have those thoughtful discussions.
Yeah, we need to engage with each other and try to understand these complex issues.
Absolutely, because these moments, they shape our democracy.
They do.
So stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This is the Deep Dive signing off for now.
Until next time.
We'll be back soon with more fascinating stories to unpack and help you make sense of the world.
Looking forward to it.